Welcome to the Audio Inc. Radio podcast, featuring interviews with the biggest names in rock and metal. Hosted by Anne Erickson.
Get inked. Visit Facebook.com/Audio Inc. Radio, Twitter.com/Audio Inc. Radio, and AudioIncRadio.com for more ink. Whew, that's a lot of ink. It's AudioIncRadio.com.
It's a good day when you get to talk to a rock star, and today is a good day. It's Anne Erickson on Audio Inc. Radio, and very excited to have on the show the one and only John Corabi, who has a long history in rock music. I mean, he was with Motley Crue for a while. He's currently in the Daisies, which is just an awesome supergroup featuring a bunch of big named rockers. And he really has his finger on the pulse of what is big and hot right now in rock and kind of the trends, because he's been through it. He's seen over the years what rock was and what it is becoming. So I'm really happy to have him back on the show. I had him on a long time ago. I'm trying to remember when. I almost feel like it was before I even launched this podcast, but not quite sure. But very happy to have him back. He's doing a great thing. He's got a benefit show, G4L Records Cancer Benefit Show in Nashville. And we're going to talk about why that cause is near and dear to his heart and much more fun. But first, if you don't subscribe to the podcast yet, why not? What are you waiting for? Shame on you. Do it right now. Just search Anne Erickson on Audio Inc. wherever you rock out to podcast. Hit subscribe and you'll be instantly notified of the next show featuring the biggest names in rock and metal music. I'm going to wait while you do it. Going to wait while you subscribe. All right. Good job. And hey, follow me on my private Patreon to get an inside look at my life and the music I make and stuff like that. You'll find the link in the show description. It's patreon.com/Anne Autumn. Without further ado, the one and only John Corabi of the Dead Daisies.
Hey guys, this is John Corabi from the Dead Daisies, and you were listening to Audio Inc. Radio with Anne Erickson. Keep it loud.
Well, John, it's great to have you on. How's it going? How is fall treating you? All that good stuff.
It's starting to get a little cool. As you can see, I'm wearing a jacket here. And I was just in, where was I? Ohio. And I did a solo show, another kind of a fundraiser thing. And it was freezing. So I'm slowly getting into my fall winter attire, but life is good. I've been busy. I'm just beyond grateful to get back to work after 3 years of sitting here twiddling my thumbs with COVID. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. I was actually going to ask, do you kind of feel like getting on the road and seeing the audiences, are they more excited now for live music because it was taken away from us for so long?
Yeah, well, yes and no. I think, the funny thing is, it's been kind of, even my solo shows, and even in Europe, just throughout the world, it's been kind of hit or miss. It's either like incredibly packed or it's just a little, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
I still think, we're still being inundated with new versions of COVID and just all the shit that's going on the news. I think you're finding that some people got very complacent and comfortable just sitting on their couch, and they're like, fuck it, I don't even want to go out anymore. I'm like, who cares? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think to a degree, some of these companies, which will remain nameless, that were doing the bigger concerts. One that comes to mind is, for example, the Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, Joan Jett extravaganza that was out there. That concert it kept getting postponed for the better part of, I think 2 years. And a lot of the fans were complaining because, Live Nation, for example, they had some little stipulation when you bought a ticket in advance. Once COVID hit, you had like a small window to request a refund for the tickets. And if you didn't do it, then they had the right to hold on to your money and just postpone indefinitely. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So a lot of fans, I'm kind of seeing that the fans aren't apt to buy tickets in advance like they used to do. They're waiting till the last minute and just walking up to the door and buying tickets at the door. It's crazy. Another example, I just did a show. I was on tour with Winger and Tom Kiefer doing a solo like acoustic thing. And we just did a bunch of shows and it was crazy. But I had some friends here in Nashville that were like, oh, I'm going to come and see you at the Ryman. And they went to buy a ticket in advance. And the face value of the tickets were $50. But with the handling fees and the Ticketmaster fees and all these other fees that they tacked on, the ticket actually wound up being something like $125 or $130.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So there was like $70 of fees on a $50 ticket. And oddly enough, a couple of my friends waited to the last minute and they bought a ticket at the door for $50. So
Yeah.
there's just this complete disconnect in that I can't put my finger on it. I don't know, like, I don't know what's going on, but it's really kind of, it's just the whole thing. It's, it's kind of disheartening. Not so much for me, but I just sit there sometimes and I think about new bands that are trying to cut their teeth. And I just sit there and I go, I have no idea how these guys are going to make ends meet.
Right. No, it's totally changed.
It's just changed. There's no radio support for older classic bands like, for example, the Dead Daisies or, like new music that the Dead Daisies do or Poison or a lot of these bands that we all grew up listening to because we've all been kind of swept under the rug with each new fad that comes. The thing prior to it gets swept under a rug and it's like you'd never to be heard from again. And then the new bands, I know when I was growing up, like in Philadelphia, a lot of your radio stations would do like local music hour. And, if a band got an overwhelming response from the listeners, then they added them to the playlist. And now it's like, you don't have that. You don't have magazines. You don't have MTV. And it's kind of puzzling. Like, I'm just sitting there going, I don't know where the music industry is going, but it's a little scary.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think too, like I'll see these people on TikTok who aren't really musicians, but somehow they put out like a song and then it goes viral. And then suddenly labels want to sign them. And I'm like, is that what you have to do now to like quote unquote make it? You have to put like something silly on TikTok and have 1 million followers or something?
Yeah. And it's weird because, then you get these conflicting reports about TikTok and they go, oh, you got it. Like my manager even said, you got to be on TikTok. And I go, well, this might be a little bit of a long answer, so I'm going to apologize now.
Oh no, I love it.
I'm old school. I'm not going to make any bones or apologies about it. But the thing that I miss about like growing up in the 60s and 70s was the fact that nowadays there is zero mystique about any bands at all. None.
Totally. Yep.
And I just had a conversation 20 minutes ago with another guy from Hungary. And he said, looking at the music industry now, he goes, I don't really believe that there's any rock stars anymore. Like, you know, all the shit we grew up listening to, the David Bowies, the, you know, 70s Steven Tyler and, you know, Robert Plant and just, you know, all these bands that we grew up listening to. And I'm like, I get it. And it's weird. I understand progression. I understand technology and all this other stuff, but you know, I really believe that like all the shit we're doing now, like I don't understand it. Like there's so much information on a daily basis going to people about all their different bands that they listen to. Everybody's twittering, everybody's doing, hi, it's me, I'm starting my day, this is me having coffee. And you know, you're like, I don't really give a fuck. Like I just want to just give me the album, let me sit, open the record, smell the record, let me read the credits. How about a little mysterious mystique, whatever you want to call it. But it's just weird. I put a couple songs out on, you know, probably a year or so ago, and I was really excited about it. And I put them out, and then I did what everybody else does. I was on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, like, check out my new song, blah, blah, blah. Which is what you have to do nowadays because you get zero support. There's no MTV. There's nothing. You do a video, you put it on YouTube, which I did. And then I advertise the shit out of it on social media. But the news feeds are so inundated with information constantly that you can post something and 5 minutes later it's gone. Like you really have to dig if you want to remember, like, wait, who was it that I just saw put a new song out?
Yeah.
Was it John Corabi or was it Steven Tyler? Somebody just put a new song out. What was the name of that song? So there's like a weird disconnect. So I'm trying to figure it out as well. Like the whole streaming thing, the way the internet works, I don't get it. You know, but again, I don't, I just think we're inundating people with way too much information. And it's really the technology is, I don't know, man. It's weird. Like I can totally understand why the SAG, you know, the actors and the writers just went on strike because they're dealing with the same thing with companies like Netflix, Paramount Plus, like all these things that they're trying to figure out, like, how do we calculate the amount of hours people watched these movies, where before it was simple. They put a movie in movie theaters and you just counted the tickets. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's awesome, the technology. It's awesome that I can sit and watch a movie on my phone while I'm flying somewhere. But it's also kind of scary. It's kind of ruining a lot of shit at the same time.
Right. And I agree with what you said about the mystique being gone. I've been thinking about that lately. It's like, you know, back in the day, there'd be a band and it's like, wow, I really like their music. And you'd see their music videos and you go see them live and maybe you'd see them on MTV or some like TV special. But now it's almost like they're too, I don't know if friendly is the word, but you know everything about the band members. Like, and because of that, I think people seem oddly attached to them to the point where they can like criticize them online, and it, like that mystique is gone. And so you've got all these people who think that they know these band members because they see them with their coffee every day. And then I don't know, I feel like has taken away that kind of rock star god status.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, again, when I was growing up, you know, you would see a band in magazines, just a few pictures that they wanted you to see. And they did their press, and then you'd see them on tour, you'd hear the record, and then they would disappear. And it would sit there and wonder, like, dumb shit like, wow, God, is Jimmy Page really, into, the occult? Is like Robert Plant, like, you just saw little glimpses that they wanted you to see, and then they retreated and you saw nothing. And then all of a sudden it was like you'd hear on the radio, like, Led Zeppelin's got a new record coming out in 2 weeks. And you were pumped again, like the cycle started again. And like you said, like now you have the bands have to interact with their fans to the point of, like I said earlier, hey, good morning, guys. I'm having some coffee and a cigarette right here in my backyard, blah, 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 blah. But then even when you go out and you tour, everybody's got a phone. So everybody's taking photos, everybody's taking videos, and they're all putting it out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've seen some horrible fucking photos of even myself, like where I'm just leaning a certain way or standing
right.
a certain way. Oh my God, look, I look like I just ate a Buick. You know what I mean?
I'm sure it's not that bad, but I know it's like when you have like people every night taking photos of you and like maybe they're behind you or something or like right underneath you, or, it's just, it's just a mess.
Yeah. So it's just, I just think there's something to be said about overkill with anything. I mean, fuck, it could be as simple as getting up every morning and having, 2 fried eggs, bacon and toast and coffee every day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I lost it. Oh, there you are. If you do that every day, you're eventually going to get sick of it. You're going to want cereal. You're going to want a donut. You're going to want a bagel. Again, not to be weird, personal. This is not a Me Too moment, so don't take it the wrong way. But it's like, it'd be the same as having sex and just doing it in the same position every night with the same person. You're going to get sick of it. You're going to want to change it up a little bit. And I love the technology to a degree, but I also think it's really fucking scary that, you know what I mean? It's just
right.
overkill with anything is not good.
Right. I almost wonder if it'll have to go back. Like if people will get so sick of it and maybe a new generation will just rebel and be like, I don't want all of this. I want it to be more simple.
I hope so. And even back is, I don't know how old you are. I'm 106 years old, but whatever. I wasn't a big fan. I was and I wasn't. I was a fan of MTV because of how they put bands on the map by putting them in every person's living room in America. I thought that was great. The thing that I like about it, though, was, again, just going a little old school. If you sat and listened to a song and with no video, nothing, you just open up a, Led Zeppelin record and you listen to, the Battle of Evermore or whatever, any song, you listen to it and you get out of the lyrics what you want to get out of the lyrics. I could listen to the exact same song and get a completely different meaning out of it. So what I mean by it is, like, you had to use your imagination to figure out what the singer was talking about. And then all of a sudden MTV comes along, which is awesome. It's a massive promotion tool for a lot of bands, made a lot of bands a lot of money and very successful. But what you were seeing in the video was, for those who don't know how it works, you would do a song, you would hire a director, and then the director would come up with a storyline of the song. So what you're seeing is one person's viewpoint of this is what the song is about.
Yeah, not even the band.
In most cases, not even the band. The band would show up and go, okay, what's the game plan? Well, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. Some bands did have input, but still, it's just one viewpoint. It's one, regardless, it's here's what the song is about. It basically took the imagination away from the listener. And so I've always loved technology, but always kind of fought back against it because I just loved listening to, the Beatles, Queen, Zeppelin, Aerosmith, whoever, Grand Funk Railroad. And I would just sit in my room with headphones and just get lost in the music and just make these mental images, my mental images of what I thought the song was about. And it's gone now. It's all gone. All of it.
But before we get off too far, I want to talk about this awesome cancer benefit show that you have on the way, because I think it's just really cool that you're headlining this event and, using your talents for this. So tell me about the gig, how you got involved and why you wanted to support it.
Well, first of all, I lost my mother in 1996 at the age of 57 to cancer. And my dad passed away in 2014 of brain. And then oddly enough, it's so funny because this lovely lady, Elizabeth, who we recently lost, I thought I never met her, but apparently she reminded me that I had met her there's a thing that used to happen here in town called the Rock and Roll Residency. And so she's like, no, I met you at the residency thing, whatever. But we were communicating via Facebook, Instagram, whatever. And she recently just got married, and then maybe 2 months later found out she had breast cancer. And unfortunately, it went into her lymph nodes and spine, and just it's horrible. And then my guy, a very good friend of mine, Chris Blevins, who is the singer for a band called 13 South, he also helps me sell my merch. And when I met him, he was also going through chemotherapy and a bunch of stuff. So when Elizabeth passed, her husband, Marcus, owned the record label G4. And Chris is signed to the label. He said he wanted to do a cancer charity thing. And I said, count me in, dude. Like I've it's a horrible disease that, it's just this long, drawn out, painful, horrible disease that, at some point I hope we would eradicate. But because I have, like I said, parents, I have other friends that are struggling with this, I just said, count me in. I'm in town. I'm just going to go down and whatever you need me to do. If you need me to play 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, whatever, just let me know, but count me in. So, I think, I just can't say enough, negative shit about cancer, but
Do you feel like one of the nice things about being in the position that you are and being a well-known musician is that you can give back with events like this?
yeah. And it's, I just did one in, like I said, Ohio, and it was for, it's called Women That Rock or Women Rock and I went up and I did it, and I was talking to the, woman that was handling the event, and it was for women and men that are dealing with domestic abuse. So I was like, okay, yeah, and I don't do a lot of them. Unfortunately, because I'm as busy as I've been, or fortunately, however you want to look at it. But when I can do them, I do them. Even my wife and I, we used to do every year. She has a hair salon, and we used to do, Platinum Hair Salon and John Corabi present, and we would do a Toys for Tots thing. We did it for almost 10 years. So anything I can do to help, I just think, I don't know. Yes, I am in a position where I can add my name. I don't know. It's not like Steven Tyler or Robert Plant or anything like that. But if I can lend my name to something and help sell some tickets for a good cause, I'm all in.
Yeah, no, I'm wondering if there's anything new with the Dead Daisies as far as new music on the way.
Well, we have at some point we're going to, we've discussed doing a new record. In the future, we haven't nailed down a specific date to start working on a new project. But at this point, we just released it's kind of a 10-year marker. The band's been around now for 10 years. This is an anniversary year for the Daisies. So we did a best of record. And it's like, hey, here's everything we've done for the last 10 years. The best is yet to come. And we're out touring and supporting that. So tomorrow I'm doing an event in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And then I get back from that and I'm doing this G4 cancer charity at the 8th Room in Nashville on the 17th. And then I got a few days off here to hang out and tighten up my ship before I leave to go on tour. And then I head to Japan and then Europe for the rest of the year with the Dead Daisies.
Wow, it's busy. Well, hopefully you guys do a tour next year and come to Michigan because that's where I am. And I know you guys sometimes come around Detroit. So
I love Michigan. Michigan's always actually, Detroit has always supported just about every band that I've ever been in. So I love it up there. You guys definitely know how to rock. And, I love visiting.
yeah, well, we're Rock City, so we love you. And I do think that Detroit supports rock acts better than many other cities.
Well, and you've also given, Michigan has also given the music world quite a few awesome artists, a la, Grand Funk Railroad, Alice Cooper, Kid Rock, Bob Seger, MC5, the list goes on and on and on. So Ted Nugent, can't forget Uncle Ted. But yeah, you've definitely been massive supporters of rock music and massive contributors as well. So we love Michigan.
It's a mutual love.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, John, it's been great hanging out. Congrats on everything, all the stuff that you're doing, and really looking forward to hopefully you guys playing the States next year and new music.
Yeah, I hope to. I know there's a massive part of America that we did not play on this last run. So I'm hoping that we get back to America in 2024, hit South America. There's a bunch of places we haven't played, the UK. So hopefully we'll get to Michigan and you and I can sit down and have either a beer or a whiskey, a wine, whatever you
Or
order.
all of the above.
I love the way you think.
John Corabi, thanks for being an amazing guest on my show. I love the fact that he talked about the mystique being gone, because I was just thinking about that the other day and talking with a friend about how, gosh, I just feel like, when I was growing up, the bands that I looked up to, I got posters of and I saw them on TV and that sort of thing, but I did not know much about their personalities other than if I caught an interview or read an interview with them. And there was this mystique of the rock star, and it was mysterious. It was fun. Now I kind of feel like for the most part that's gone. It's a necessary evil because, as he mentioned, in order to release music and stuff and be successful, you have to be on Instagram. You have to be on all these platforms and be like, hey, look at me, got music out. And I'm guilty of that with my own band. But yeah, it was great just talking with him and wondering what if in the future it's not this way. So thank you, John, for being an awesome guest. Hey, if you don't subscribe to the podcast yet, now is the perfect time to do it. Just search Anne Erickson on Audio Inc. wherever you rock out to podcast. Hit subscribe and you'll be instantly notified of the next show featuring the biggest names in rock and metal music. Don't forget to be on my private Patreon page for an inside peek at my life. You'll find the link in the show description. And finally, check out my band Upon Wings at uponwings.com. New music out really soon, and this is a banger. This is a heavy metal track, which I know I've done a lot of pop music lately, but I promise that this one is heavy and this one is a banger. All right, as always, this was fun and fast. Went by quick. You are amazing. Have a great one, and until next time, be safe, God bless, and we'll rock soon. It's Anne Erickson on Audio Inc. Radio.
It's Audio Inc. with Anne.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Audio Inc. Radio podcast. Subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. Get inked online at audioinkradio.com. I'm Anne Erickson for the Audio Inc. Radio podcast.